Hello and welcome to our video today where I'll be going through the CIPS Excellence in Procurement Awards for Asia. We have these awards every year in association with ProcureCon Asia. And because time frames have changed slightly because of COVID last year, we're having a little mini series of awards now based around COVID categories. So I'm just going to take you through some tips, some hints, how to get started, pulling the presentation together, your submission together, a bit about the process and our judges, and then hopefully that will hold you in good stead to pull together a good entry and hopefully be a winning entry. So let me just go through that with you now. So of course, we really hope to be back in a room celebrating everybody's success this year after last year, obviously having to go everything online. But obviously we'll review that as things change. But getting together in a room and celebrating everyone's success, I think should really be that motivation to put an award submission together. It's a really great opportunity to take stock, think about all the great work that you've done, and a real motivational opportunity, I think, for your teams. So I'd really encourage you to do it, even if we can't all be in a room to celebrate. So a bit about what we do with the award entries, everyone who winners and some of the shortlists too. So we take all those great case studies and we share them with a wider profession through Supply Management Magazine, or through our CIPS knowledge pages, or even at our events and conferences. So we continually share those great stories, those great winning entries with the wider profession, which gives you some really great global profile for your organizations. So hopefully another motivation to put an entry in. So tips on how to pull an entry together, so where to start really, and with the project itself, I think really think carefully about whether it fits the brief. So go onto the website. Like I say, these are all COVID related categories for this particular award series, so have a look at which one best suits the project that you're trying to tell us. Does it fit the brief? Have a look at that criteria that the judges are looking for. Think about we often consumed by our own projects, and it's often a good idea to relay them to others. We get so tied up in the detail. It sounds exciting to us. Relay that to other people who perhaps weren't involved with the project. See what they think. Is that going to impress the judges the most? So I would think about what project it is you're going to submit, relay it to others who think, if they think it's exciting, and then think about the size of the project that you're involved with and the timing of it. Now, obviously, most things will be timed towards the COVID window, but really think about those projects that you'd managed to achieve some benefits, you'd managed to overcome them. Obviously, there are still lots of COVID projects out there. And although we're not expecting everything to be finished, we're expecting to see quite a substantial amount of results from that project. So think about the timing. Is it too big? Can you fit it into the word count that we put in? If not, try and chunk that project down, or perhaps think of a different one. You might want to give an overview of the whole project and then do a deep dive into a particular aspect of it in order to keep it down in size. So have a little think about that as well. We can't have a 20-page submission, so you've got to get it over in the specific word count. So think about how you could condense that down. And I'll go on to that in a little bit more detail as we go along. So think about your hook, that first opening paragraph where we're asking you to describe your project, what it was you were trying to achieve. Really think about how you can draw the judges in with that. Those first impressions really count. I want to be able to click onto the next bit and go, wow, I really want to find out about this project. Try and avoid any jargon or TLAs, 3-letter acronyms. I can't tell you how many times I've had to stop reading, look something up on Google, try and understand what it was, still none the wiser, and then try to carry on and unpick that. So really think about your language, particularly if it's internal language or language that's specific to your sector. And our judges have got oodles of experience and they know they're experts in procurement, but really think about not using too much technical language or jargon if you can. And think presentation, as well as the questions that we ask you, there's an opportunity to do some supporting documents there. So you could really go to town in pulling some great presentations together for that. So think about the look of it all. Make the judge's job easy. I mean, they're really super busy guys and girls, and they're taking some time out of their diaries to try and judge these awards. So make sure that you make the job easy for them. Answer all the questions that we give. Make sure that you're answering the exam question. So really think about whether your response does cover what's being asked of you. Use evidence as much as you can to back up your claims. And with the results, quote the actual and not predicted results. I mean, we will allow some predicted results, but we're looking for projects where the majority of the results have been realised. So, we've achieved X, Y, and Z, and we expect to achieve A, B, and C in years 2 and 3. That's absolutely fine, but I'd like to see the bulk of what's been achieved down on paper. So that goes back to that timing and whether you think it's the right time to enter. And don't break the rules as well. I mean, we allow the certain word count per questions, and that's all set in the system to allow that. But also we allow 3 pages of supporting documents. I can't tell you how many times I've opened up a PDF and there's an annual report of 100 pages or something like that. So they just won't be looked at and will perhaps just not go in your favour. So make sure that you're making the judge's job easy as possible when pulling all of that information together. Use your own experts. So I said, like, relay some of these stories to other people in your teams. I really would pull together a cross-functional team. Those that have and haven't been involved with those projects that can tease out the questions. What do you mean by this? I don't really understand how you got there, etc. To make sure that you're getting the most information, most pertinent information down in your submission. And you use your experts, your internal experts, your PR teams, your comms team. They'll help you be concise but still relevant, avoid all that jargon. So use as many of your internal experts as you possibly can. So here's some key dates. So the entries are open now. There's an early bird deadline of the 26th of February, with our final deadline of the 29th of March. Now, I would suggest starting as early as possible. Don't underestimate how long these things take to do. And part of the submission is actually pulling together a testimonial from some senior management as well, which often takes time getting in people's diaries. So please, please, please start as soon as you can. Okay, so the categories. 4 categories, like I said, all COVID related. Best response to supply chain resilience, best response to supplier collaboration, best team response to COVID-19, and best community response project. So hopefully there's something in there for everybody. You're more than welcome to enter more than one category. If one project spans across more than one category, then you're quite welcome to enter the same project into more than one category. I would advise tailoring your submission, so not just putting the same words into the same category verbatim. Really, the project is fine, but think about the language and the angles that you could take to tailor it to those other categories. So that's the categories that we've got for this exam, this award series for this year. So I'll just take you through the judging process. We have a panel of independent senior procurement and supply professionals. They've got oodles of experience from lots of different sectors, so they really should have a deep understanding of procurement and perhaps in your sectors too, often based in the region or have knowledge of the region, so should really understand the nuances of some of these difficulties that you've come across in these projects. They score all the entries. We ask them to do that all remotely, and then we come together on a call and we decide who the shortlist are and who the winners So that's how we collectively come to that. We do allow judges to enter the awards as well, and if they decide to enter a particular category, then they don't see any scores, they don't see any of the entries, and they're not privy to any of the conversations that we have on that. So we're completely transparent about that, and there are checks and balances in to make sure that everything is fair. Okay, so the process itself. So submit your entry via the individual award entry form. Read the questions, so make sure that that you understand those exam questions and that you're pulling together your response and answering those questions. So I'd really advise making sure that you double check that and provide evidence to back up your claims as much as possible. Each question is marked out of 5, apart from the question on expected outcomes. And that's really the crux of these projects, and we're marking that out of 10. So that's where you really need to make sure that the timing is right, because we want to see as many of those outcomes that are realised as well as expected, those still to come. And don't forget the supporting materials. So we allow up to 3 sides of A4, and they can include testimonials, they can include quotes from suppliers or customers, anything that you like, press cuttings, graphs and charts that display what you're trying to get across in a better way than just the text that allows in the submission itself, anything that could back up your claim. I'd advise not putting anything in there that you're absolutely relying on. So all of the facts need to be in your submission, but of course, feel free to reference things in the supporting documents. And then lastly, we ask for a testimonial from your CEO, CFO, or equivalent. So we're looking for not just your claims, but back from the business as well. So they've given them that rubber stamp that this was indeed a great project. Excellent stuff. So that's it. Go onto the website, have a look at those categories, make sure that you understand the descriptions, read through the questions, pull that team together, make a start as soon as you possibly can. And there's lots of information on the website about how to get started. So all that remains is for me to wish you the very best of luck.